podcast, and we are here for After the Snap, episode 11. What's going on? Oh, 1 second. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
It's your boy Hezzy Hybrid though.
Okay, guys. Sorry about that, everybody.
Doggy.
Hi, little bird. See my dog running around?
Yeah.
My dog tried to run out the room. I was like, but man. All right, guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good week so far.
Yeah, man, it was a crazy week for football. A lot of upsets, a lot of games where it was just like, wasn't not expecting that one. I think the one game that you called that was a big upset was the Broncos taking out the Eagles. You said you thought the Broncos were going to beat the Eagles that week. I told you I was like, I want to come on here and say the Broncos, but some part of me stayed away from me. But the Broncos ended up pulling it off. But we will get into that, guys. But let's get into our first topic of the whole entire day. First topic of the day is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs losing on Monday Night Football to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That game was a back and forth game. Patrick Mahomes threw a pick six that ended up being the story, the reason why the Jags ended up winning that game. So my question is with the Chargers, I'm sorry guys, lost my train of thought when everything just happened. So when the Chiefs lost to the Jaguars, now they're 2-3. Does that scare you? Like, or do you think the Chiefs should be in panic mode at this point, starting the season off 2-3, especially with how the Broncos and the Chargers are looking?
Yeah, they are kind of starting to scare me. I mean, like I said before, they're not totally out the mix, but they really got to start taking these games serious, man. Because I mean, they'll be lucky at this point. The way that they've been playing, they're lucky to even make the playoffs. Maybe even just get in as a wild card. Because they're clearly not the same KC Chiefs as we've seen once before in the past, and as we stated before, like both the Broncos are already kind of putting their foot down and being like, "Hey, it's a new day. Like it's time for us to come up and take this division and actually start playing some winning football." So yeah, I mean the way that they're playing right now, if they do make the playoffs, I mean they're not going to do anything really. They might just bounce out as soon as they even make it in, if they even get there. So and then who knows? Like if they're gonna do that, they're gonna have to take a lesson from this game and really have to bounce back if they're really gonna have success.
Yeah, that game, I would say at the moment, I don't want to say it's panic mode just yet. Like just like the last time they started the season off 0-2, I was like, if they come out here and lose to the Giants next, start 0-3, then it's completely panic mode. They're gonna miss playoffs. They had back-to-back wins, and now they played like Jaguars. Well, I actually picked the Chiefs against the Jaguars. They were looking really good. They were up 14-0, and Jacksonville ended up making that whole run back to tie the game. And then Patrick Mahomes throws a pick six, where it kind of leaves Jacksonville with that momentum going forward to win the game. But if you just look at everything about the game, Kansas City was the better team that night. They just lost the game. It happens like that. I've told people that many times. They're kind of like, "Oh, how is that possible? How can a team be better but they lost?" Happens all the time in sports. When you just watch the game and you're like, "This is the better team," but they just could not capitalize on certain moments and they lost the game. It's like I watch fights all the time in UFC and different things. Guys are winning the whole entire fight and then they get cracked and they get knocked out and they lose. That doesn't mean they're not the better fighter. It just means they got caught. And that's what happened to the Kansas City Chiefs this past weekend because that Jaguars defense leads the whole entire league in interceptions and takeaways. That Jaguars defense is legit. Trevor Lawrence is having a really good season so far. Not like a MVP type season, but he's playing really decent, a lot better than he did other years. So I don't want to say it's panic mode just yet, just because if you look at the stats of that game, per third or maybe even second in the division. I was like, no, I think Jacksonville's going to win this division. I think they're a really good team. So I'm not really surprised by how good Jacksonville is doing, but I don't think it's panic mode just yet for the Kansas City Chiefs, just because they looked really good. They just lost the game. Patrick Mahomes just did not see the DB and just threw the ball directly to him, basically, and got a pick six. That if that ball wasn't a pick six thrown, Kansas City probably wins that game. But that whole touchdown kind of messed it all up, and Jacksonville ended up pulling it out. And Trevor Lawrence with a crazy play at the end of the game, falling down and getting back up. I saw an interview where he said, "I was in." He says, "When I fell, I was thinking about just I was going to get up and then just throw the ball away." He was like, "That's what I was going to do." But he said, "I got up and I saw there's nobody over there, so I just took off running for it." And Chris Jones, I don't know if you saw the play. Chris Jones, after he fell, Chris Jones kind of just said, he just stood there. He just stood there and was like, you know what? We're gonna get him. And then he gets away. If Chris Jones goes after him instead of just standing there, they probably get him down and probably lose some yards on that one. So it was just a whole crazy last play for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I do not think it's panic mode yet because the Chiefs are getting better. They're gonna get Rice back. And that offense is looking pretty good right now. So I do believe the Chiefs have a good chance of making the playoffs. But you might be right. It might be like a wild card spot because the Broncos look like they're going to win the division. The Broncos look legit right now. They're getting better and better every year. Now they just beat the Eagles. So I don't think it's panic mode just quite yet.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to see, man, because we can only hope that they can kind of step it up and get better. But yeah, they easily could have beat the Jags, and the fact that they didn't, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But I really didn't like that effort by Chris Jones at the end because I'm just like, bro, you could have easily like you weren't the first person to get him, but you could have been right there, like on a little rebound, and just been like, yeah, I'm the reason why you couldn't get that extra yardage. And it was, I mean, it was still a great play overall because on from the Jags point of view, like Trevor Lawrence wasn't even supposed to actually did what he did. He was supposed to go down, and initially I thought he did. That he did go down, but he made a play out of nothing, and that was the game right there. So props to them. But as far as for the Chiefs, like I said, like we both say, it's not technically really over yet, but they got to really start taking these games serious, man.
Yeah, because it's not quite over for the Chiefs yet, but it was a really bad look last night, especially giving up a 14-point lead. But I think Jacksonville is legit, so it's not like they lost to a good team. I saw games were 11-0 last year. They lost. They did not lose one of those games. This year, they're 0-3 on close games. They have not won a close game yet. So
Yeah.
it seems like the mystique of the Chiefs is gone, and people are not scared of that clutch moment anymore. They're like, you know what, we can beat you guys, and we're going to do it. So that leads into my next question about the game. Do you think this game was more of Kansas City winning the game? I mean, sorry, Jacksonville winning the game, or Kansas City just losing it?
Me, in my opinion, I felt like just the Jags simply just wanted it more, especially when it came down to that fourth, because and it was getting really to the wire. It wasn't like I said before, it wasn't like KC couldn't pull out the W, but overall, just the team effort, as such as we see from Chris Jones and a couple other people, it just didn't really show up when it really mattered. Especially on the defense side of the ball, and then. But overall, it was still, like I said, a really good win for Trevor Lawrence, Travis, and company. But as for the Chiefs, like, this has to be a really hard learning lesson for them that they can't really afford room for errors, especially the little things moving forward.
Yeah. I didn't really get the. Sorry, I got distracted again. What was your answer to it? Did you say it was more like losing it or more winning it?
It was more for the Jags. I feel like they
Yeah.
ended up winning it more because I mean it's not to say that the Chiefs couldn't win, but when it really mattered, like you said, like it's the little details, it's the little effort that they have to make it to play winning football. Like Chris Jones has already given up the play as soon as he sees that Trevor wasn't down. He's just like, oh, he's not down. Oh yeah, it's a wrap for us. When I'm like, man, you could have been that difference maker. You could have came up from behind if somebody was to hold him up long enough and punched that ball out. But
Yeah.
it's just those little things that they could have obviously won the game, but just as we were stating earlier, like the Jags aren't really no scrubs. They got some ball hawks out there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But it just seems like once it got to the fourth quarter, and not to say KC weren't playing their game, they just really were trying to really come out more with the win, especially because it was at home. It was a big game, and they're just trying to make a statement like, yeah, we're not the same team.
Yeah, to be honest, I think this game is more about the Jags winning it. Just like you said, the Jags were down 14-0. They came back. Their defense had some key stops. A pick six. Patrick Mahomes rarely throws those. Gives a pick six to win the game. Trevor Lawrence falling down and getting back up and running into the end zone. Trevor Lawrence even fumbled at the 1 yard line earlier in the game when they were trying to do a QB sneak, and he ended up fumbling the ball. So everything
Yeah.
kind of just like worked out for the Jaguars, and they. It's not like it was lucky things that happened for them. They took the game. They went in there and took it. Like it was not like it wasn't a game where Kansas City gave it up. It was a team where Jacksonville went in there and said, you know what, we're at home. We're gonna come in here and we're gonna take this game because this is our house. So we're not gonna lose this game. So I agree with you. I think it's more on Jacksonville actually winning the game. I don't think it was anything to do with Kansas City losing it. Like Kansas City did make some mistakes, but at the same exact time, I don't think it was a game where you can just say, "Oh, Jacksonville didn't lose the game." Or Jacksonville just what's it called? I mean, or Kansas City just lost the game. It wasn't like just Jacksonville had nothing to do with this. I think Jacksonville had a lot to do with it with that defense, and a little bit of it was Patrick Mahomes coming out there and throwing that pick six, like I said. But a pick six doesn't cost the whole entire game. So yeah, I think it was more Jacksonville coming in there and just stealing that game away.
Yeah. What was that pick six? Like 98, 99 yards or something like that?
99-yard pick six. He threw it right at the 1 yard line. He throws
Woo!
the interception and runs the ball all the way back. I remember Patrick Mahomes tried diving for his legs. He just jumps right over Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that was
So
crazy. Like at that point, I was like, I mean, it's not this. Like I said, it's not like Casey didn't have their chances. It's not like as long as there's plenty of time on the clock and you got somebody as you got literally Pat Mahomes out there, the game's never over. But something told me I was like, yeah, the Jags is they coming out different. They knew they were gonna somehow come out with this win.
yeah, they believed in themselves. They didn't come in there like a lot of teams. I feel like last year, a lot of teams saw the Chiefs on their schedule and was like, "Oh, that might be a loss for us." This year, it
Yeah.
seems like everyone's seeing Kansas City on their schedule and was like, "You know what? If we go in there and beat the Chiefs, we make a statement. So let's go in there and beat the Chiefs this game." So, I I really do believe that was a big Jacksonville step up. And just staying with Jacksonville now, leading to our next question. Also, do you think the Jacksonville Jaguars are real Super Bowl contenders, or are they just off to like a hot start?
So far, I want to say they're contenders, but I just think that they're really going off to a really hot start, especially that as we just said, that is a really big win for them. Especially coming off of back-to-back wins of both, or really beating the Niners last week. So this was really huge for them, and it should set the tone for them that they can really start actually winning these games. So it's a definitely a 360, sorry, compared to last season and the season before, because this time around, everybody wasn't even looking at Jacksonville like that to make any type of noise, let alone Travis
Hmm.
Lawrence was a big question. Like, is he going to have a comeback here, or is this going to be just another quarterback that just couldn't make it work for them? So, so far, like I said, I was kind of torn in between a little bit, but I want to just say they're just off to a hot start at the moment.
Yeah, I. It's hard for me to say Super Bowl contenders because I have like I get like a good like five teams in my head that I would put in front of them for super going to the Super Bowl. But the Jaguars are having a great season so far. Like we and you both had them winning the division, so I feel like we're not really surprised that they're 4-1. We both thought they would probably win the division this year, and so like I don't think it's a big surprise at all, but I can't say they're Super Bowl contenders yet. I would have to see how they play going later on down the season. But one thing I can say is they beat the Niners as underdogs last week. Now they beat the Kansas City Chiefs as underdogs this week. Those are two really big games. But you see the Chiefs, they're the 2-3, but the Niners are 4-1 right now. But you can't lead to it and say, "Oh, Brock Purdy was playing." But a lot of people believe Brock Purdy is better than Mac Jones. I'm not one of those people. I think Mac is better than Brock. But
Right.
it just seems like the Jaguars are winning these games they're not supposed to be winning, and that could lead into being a Super Bowl contender. But as of right now, I just think it's a really hot start for them. I see the Jaguars. I think my record in the beginning of the season, I thought they were going to go like 13-4, or maybe even like 12-5, a good record. But I don't see them winning the Super Bowl or even going to the Super Bowl. Maybe getting out of the wild card round or getting out of the divisional round, but I do not see them actually making that push towards the Super Bowl. So to answer the question, is are Jags real Super Bowl contenders or a hot start? Just like you, I believe it's more of a hot start, but it doesn't surprise me that they're in a hot start because I thought, and you thought too, they'd be winning the division this year. We both thought they were going to be the best team in the whole conference. So not a big surprise to me, but it's too early for me to say the Jaguars are Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, most definitely. And who knows? Like, 13-14 sounds a pretty legit, reasonable record, and they might just be that team
Mhm.
like how I think what was it during COVID playoffs when
Mhm.
they had upsetted the Steelers in a little wild card matchup or like the playoffs, but they didn't really do anything after that. So it might be one of those seasons. It's early to say, but so far they're playing really good football. So I just wish them the best.
Yeah, so yeah, we're both on the same exact thing. Big win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Big win for Trevor Lawrence. That dude won the game. People forget that's the guy. I've been a big Trevor Lawrence fan since he's at Clemson. I thought he was gonna be legit. I was the guy that was calling him Peyton Manning 2.0. Not saying he's gonna be better than Peyton Manning, but I'm saying like the next Peyton Manning. I was that guy saying it because he has the size, he has the arm, he has everything going for him. But it just seems like he wasn't getting on track. I don't think he'll ever be as good as Peyton Manning as for what I see now. I think I was a little bit too high on him, but I'm just happy he's having a comeback season. He was my pick for comeback player of the year this year. I don't know if you remember our predictions before for the awards. I thought Trevor Lawrence was going to win comeback player of the year. So as of right now, 4-1. He's showing it right now. I think comeback player of the year is kind of down to three players right now. It's down to Hutchinson on the Lions, Trevor Lawrence on the Jaguars, and Christian McCaffrey on the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's down to those three guys right now because they're all three having a good season. But if I had to pick, I think Trevor Lawrence is leading that spot because he is the quarterback and he is winning these games at 4-1. Now, getting to our next spot, your Bucks are 4-1 right now. They went in there and just beat the Seahawks as underdogs. They were my underdog of the week. I had them beating the Seahawks. They were a plus 160 as a underdog, and I was like, I don't understand this. I was like, if I don't care if all of the injuries are there. They're a good squad. I believe in Baker Mayfield. You give Baker Mayfield a close game, he's gonna win that game. A star was born in these last two games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Emeka Ibuka. That kid is going to be a star in this league. He is nasty. He's already a top 10 receiver right now in his rookie year. I can say this: he's doing what I expected Marvin Harrison Jr. to do. I expected Marvin Harrison Jr. to come to the league and do what Emeka Ibuka is doing. It might be because he has Baker Mayfield and one has Kyler Murray. That might be the reason why. Is because one Kyler's kind of not living up to what we thought he would be, but Emeka Ibuka, man, this kid is nasty. Like this kid is making grown men look like
Great.
they can't guard him. He's very young still. So a star was born these last couple games in Emeka Ibuka, especially with Mike Evans being out, him stepping up as a rookie to be the number one spot now. So my question is that after they beat the Seahawks, would you say the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFC?
Let me say first that once Levante David got that pick, I was screaming. I was like, "Yes, we're gonna win this game!" Because that defense is starting to scare me. I'm like, man, they're really gonna let Sam Darnold get across midfield and get into the game tying field or the game winning field goal. Sorry, and then I was like, turns out to be the opposite. We were the ones that were in control of that game towards the last minute. So very proud of him for that. As I said before, time and time again, man, despite major injuries and all the odds stacked up against us, they are managing to to pretty much hang in there and come out with these W's. So, and half the time, I can't even blame them for like starting out the game a little bit rough, especially whoever they've been playing because they don't even know who's going to be healthy and is going to be starting until like literally the last minute. It'd be on the injury list all week. Next thing you know, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's going to play," and they're just like, "Okay, well, I guess we got that back." Or this person that's on defense, like, "Oh yeah, he's going to be out for he has like a hurt wrist or whatever the injury is." So, but most of the time, it's we're just working of what we have, especially with Baker. It's like on the offensive side, he doesn't have everybody healthy. He doesn't have everybody complete, to say that he's playing to his full potential. But then he's doing more than what he has to kind of get everybody over the hump and make these comebacks. Like everybody's been saying on Twitter, like we've been nicknamed 2 minute Tampa because this dude just
Yeah.
comes out and just wings everything. So, and it's been working out for the best. So, but like I said before, man, when we're healthy, I mean, I feel like we're that team to beat. And realistically, we're not scared of anybody, especially at teams as Philly, because even though we had a rough start to them, we almost came back and damn near won. So, yeah, man, I definitely feel like we're the best team in the NFC for sure, even if we're not 100%. Right.
give it to them yet. I'm gonna put them at number two, probably the second best team, maybe even third, maybe because the Eagles. How I feel because later on we're gonna be giving our top five NFL as two teams better than them. Maybe one is I feel like that spot for the second spot of the NFC is hard now, but I think they're at least the second best team in the NFC right now because the Lions right now, man, the Lions are looking so good. Me and you, I can say something. Me and you were both. I feel like not just me and you. Many people were wrong about the Lions this year. A lot of people believe the Lions just were not going to have the offense. They were not going to have the defense, losing their coordinators. But Dan Campbell is leading that team to something wild right now. That team is on another pace. We will get into the Lions probably coming down the next couple of weeks, but right now the Lions will probably be my best team in the NFC. But the comeback kids in Tampa Bay and the Clutch Baker out there, that's going to be a if that's the NFC Championship game, Lions and Buccaneers, that's going to be a crazy NFC Championship game if it happens because those teams' offenses look nasty right now. The Buccaneers are just not healthy. But if they were healthy, me and you both be sitting here like they're the best. They're easily the best team in the NFC right now. I had them being the number one seed at the end of the year. I had them. I think I showed Sensi my record. I had them going like 14-3 or like 15-2. I really thought the Buccaneers were going to be nasty this year and lead the number one seed in the NFC. So it doesn't surprise me or you how good the Buccaneers are doing. It surprises me that they're doing so good with the injuries though. Like with all these injuries, it just shows later down the season they're going to be fully healthy. Mike Evans going to be back. The whole offensive line is hurt right now. They have like a backup offensive line. So when they get their offensive line back,
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Dak Prescott and the Cowboys just blew out the Jets. We weren't surprised about that. We both said the Jets are not going to be able to score enough points to keep up with the firepower of Dallas. And Dallas's offense is nasty right now. So we both thought the Cowboys were probably going to win that game pretty easily. But with Dak Prescott, how great he is looking. No CD Lamb. They just got rid of Michael Parsons on the defense, so he has to come out there and play really good on the offensive side to keep them in these games. I told you, if the Cowboys are going to do good this year, Dak's gonna have to do what Joe Burrow did last year. He's gonna have to
Hmm.
score points because the defense is not gonna be holding up. But it seems like the defense did pretty well this past Sunday against the Jets. It is the Jets. Don't get me wrong. The Jets haven't won a game yet, so it is the Jets. But the defense looked pretty decent against the Jets, and Dak just showed that even if his defense shows up, he's still gonna be scoring those numbers. So my question for this one, I'll leave this question off, is that are the Cowboys real threats this year with how good their offense is? I want to put this in a way where I can say, if are they real threats to win the Super Bowl? I can say no. They're not a real threat to win a Super Bowl at all. I don't think that with that defense, you can't go out there and win a Super Bowl with just offense by itself. So I don't think they're a threat to win the Super Bowl, but are they a threat to make the playoffs? When everyone had them, me and you both had them probably finishing last in this division. And are they a threat to win a playoff game, getting to the playoffs? Possibly, yeah. I do believe they're a threat because you have to. It's subjective to say what they're a threat of. Because if someone's saying are Dallas a Super Bowl threat? No, they're not. They're not a Super Bowl threat. But if they a threat to get into the playoffs and knock somebody off in the playoffs and when they may have a chance to win this division, for sure they are. Because Dak is playing out of his mind right now. That defense hasn't been showing up as good, but Dak is making up for it with all the throws he's making. He's almost leading the league in yards right now. He has a QBR of out of a scale of 1 to 100. His QB a Super Bowl threat. I can't get that far.
Yeah, it's a little bit, slightly far fetched when you're talking about, going to the big stage. But um, as I said before, excuse my French, but when Dak and the boys are on their shit, they can compete with just anybody,
Yeah,
as they showed time before. So even like you said, even with CD being out, them having to make these little adjustments, um, they look like they haven't really missed a beat when it comes down to the rhythm on offense. Like, they got some solid people out there. They've been feeding Pickens the ball more, and even all these backup receivers and stuff are making big plays. So, and I just seen actually before we started this episode today that what's his name, Javante Williams is like top 5 in rushing right now. So they're doing
Yeah.
really good behind that offensive line, and not to downplay them, but it was the Jets, so we didn't really expect too much except for really Dak and Dallas really just kind of going out there and do what they do. So it was kind of like a practice game for them. So yeah, just hopefully they can continue this level of play, and that they can actually compete and take make it close in that division.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't understand what people in the betting community were doing at all, because I saw a thing where it says the Jets were a top 5 favorite bet for everybody this past Sunday. People were putting their money on the Jets for some reason. I don't know why. People were sitting there like, "We're gonna take the Jets." I my video. I don't know if you've seen the part. I picked the Cowboys. I was like, the Cowboys. You're gonna give me the Cowboys at a slight underdog money? Like,
Yeah.
gambling degenerates, and you guys just go out there and just try to make dumb bets. And this is the reason why the bookies always win, because you guys are over there betting the Jets on against the Dallas Cowboys. Like, what are you guys doing? So I don't. That's why the bookies always win. That's why they always win, because you got people in this world thinking the Jets going to beat the Cowboys. So I did not understand that. But yeah, Dak had a great game. Cowboys had a great game. The Jets are just trashed, and I want to see what the Cowboys do going forwards. I think that what are the Cowboys' record? They're 2-2-1 right now, right? That's the record?
Yeah.
So Cowboys could make some noise. Like I said, not noise to make the Super Bowl, because me and you both agreed they're not Super Bowl threats right as of right now. But with how Dak's playing, they're for sure a threat to get into that playoffs. And what's up, Mr. Carter? Well, and probably maybe even make some noise and knocking somebody off. So now get into my favorite topic this week, because I feel like me and you both have a we're both a little biased on this, but it's my favorite topic this week. Who's the MVP favorite as of right now? Because it seems like right now it is Dak or Baker. It's like, who is the MVP favorite? Since it's your quarterback, I'll let you lead this one off.
I mean, you already know what I'm gonna say, so it's like it's no shade to Dak at all. I would say, as my former favorite quarterback, being a fan of them boys, but like I said, it's no shade to him. But Baker is just playing. As you said earlier, you said Dak is playing out of his mind. Baker is playing out of this world right now, and that anybody could imagine. So every game, really except for the Philly game, Baker has single-handedly has led his team within just less than 2 minutes, to victory. So, and we got to take into account that even though, yeah, like Dallas is dealing with some injuries too, but not as bad as us. And you know, you got to give it to Bacon considering of what he's working with at the moment. Not having a full team there, and everybody's kind of already writing them off in the sense of like, yeah, you guys, if you guys aren't really even 80% really, you guys don't really have a fighting chance. But and a lot of these games were really close so far. But at the end of the day, like, look what Baker is working with, man. Like, he's really pulling stuff out of nothing. And there's plays where literally the line just collapsed because we're like down to our third string. We're signing unrestricted free agents that like should hardly be on a training camp, and he's just doing
Mhm.
it. So there's times where it's like, oh man, like Baker's about to go down, and he's just like, nope, about to pull these little juke moves off, and I'm about to get this first down. Like, I'm not gonna let us lose. So, like I said, it's not to say that Dak isn't playing outstanding football right now, but Baker is doing something that like really I haven't seen in a long time. Really, I haven't really seen at all from a lot of current quarterbacks in the last 10 years. So, like I said, not to sound biased, but I feel like Baker is absolutely right now should be in that talk, if not being that 1-2 of being MVP.
I just want to say one thing: is I told all you guys, I told everybody this guy Baker Mayfield was something different. Even when he was with the Browns, I told you guys, wait, he going. he gonna be something in this league. When he was in Carolina, I was like, wait, he gonna be something in this league. When he was with the Rams for that one game, he went out there. I was like, this is the beginning of it. This is the beginning of it. Now Baker is just showing up. In the past 3 years, Baker Mayfield leads the whole entire league in touchdowns. He has the most touchdowns in the past 2 years in the fourth quarter. He has these top three in game-winning drives in the past 2 years. So this is Baker Mayfield is showing that he's the clutchest quarterback in the league right now. I believe he's the clutchest quarterback because it was Patrick Mahomes. I think Baker's overset Patrick Mahomes for the most clutchest quarterback. Patrick Mahomes just threw a pick six and he couldn't lead the game-winning drive to win the game. Baker Mayfield was on that field. He would have led that game-winning drive to win that game because every time if they're within 3 points or 7 points and they have the ball with a minute left and Baker's on the field, I'm not scared at all. I'm like they're gonna do it. I just have a feeling. It's like it was like me watching Kobe Bryant play in the last 2 minutes down like 5 or 6 points in the last 2 minutes. I was sitting there like, I ain't worried. I was like, we're gonna come back. He gonna make the shots and he gonna lead them. That's how I feel about Baker Mayfield. I'm like, I don't care if they're down with 2 minutes, a minute, 1 minute drill, down three. They got to get a game-winning field goal to tie the game or even win the game. I have no like not bad confidence in that at all. I'm really confident in Baker Mayfield. This guy is nasty. He is the MVP favorite for sure. I know a lot of people are putting with how the Cowboys are playing. People are like, you know what? He's leading his team to more. They
Yeah.
Bucky Irving was out last game. They were underdogs against the Seahawks. They went in Seattle, just beat Seattle, and they were so close to beating Philly again. I'm like, great comeback, Baker led, but once the one game where Baker did throw a pick on that final drive, he did, but that's because he was just Kobe and Jordan miss game winners sometimes. Like it's crazy to me. They have 4 wins on 4 game-winning drives. It's the feel like as a Tampa Bucks fan, you're probably sitting there sweating, like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But when you got Baker Mayfield as your quarterback, you're not really sweating. You're kind of sitting there like, oh, we chilling. Baker's gonna do this again. So Baker is the MVP favorite right now. I told you, me and you both did. I think me and you both switched it. After Joe Burrow got hurt in week 2, we were kind of like, you know what? Joe Burrow was our MVP pick for the season, but I feel like we reserved the right to make our pick switched for who's going to win MVP. And me and you both said Baker Mayfield. We're like, no, this is going to be Baker's year because I was so close to picking Baker in the first place. But I just thought Joe Burrow was going to put up crazy numbers to win it. But now he's hurt. Baker Mayfield was my second pick anyway. So I think with them being 4-1 and the Cowboys being 2-2-1, I feel like you easily go to the better team with a better record with the guy that's leads so many game-winning drives. Even though Dak is putting up crazy numbers right now, numbers aren't everything. Wins sometimes have to come into account. The moments have to count, and I think Baker Mayfield is for sure the MVP favorite at the moment.
Yeah, man, you pretty much said it perfectly. Because, like I said, it's not to discredit what the Cowboys are doing and how much they're hanging in there, especially with Dak playing pretty much playing at the top right now. Is you really have to compare and really look at it. Not even from like take away the record. Like Baker is like playing crazy right now. Like he's playing on a level where shoot, even when he was in Cleveland, like yeah, everybody knew he was clutch. Everybody knew what he was capable of. He can single handedly come out and win these games. But just the way he's doing it so far in this early season, man, with the Bucks is it's just amazing to see, man. And if he's literally proving haters wrong, like we both sent each other the same thing on Instagram where it was like, man, before the game where he was just like, yeah, we're gonna come out, he's pointing to that one Seattle, that heckling fan, and was like, yeah, we're gonna start going up by halftime, and then as soon as he's running back into the tunnel after we kicked the game-winning field goal, he was just pointing right back at him, and the only thing that the Seahawk fan could say was just like, you still suck, you still suck.
So
So
hurt. You can hear the hurt in
yeah,
his
so
voice.
hurt. So it's amazing, man, and I absolutely love Baker. Like that's gonna have to absolutely be my next jersey besides Ibuka. So and that's another thing too. Like having somebody that caliber like Emeka Ibuka coming in to help him out and be a deep threat at that. It's just, it's going to be a great chemistry to see them have down the road. And on
Yeah.
another side note as well, because you had mentioned how super banged up our offensive line is, and it doesn't help at all that our best running back was hurt too. So I'm think he's going to actually be out for the next game against the Niners. So we're going to have to see how
Hmm.
we hold up against that. But even with the banged up O line, we had the backup who was the starter originally before Bucky had got drafted is Rashad White, and he had an
Yeah.
amazing.
Uh
He
huh.
was running through the holes, and he had 2 TDs himself, so I was like, "Man," like, just those little things had added up over time, and that was the reason why we were able to pretty much keep that lead for the most part during the duration of the game, so but overall, when the game was on the line, Baker just did his thing, and he was just like, "Nope, everybody, like, hold my little pack of Zins," or whatever the little tobacco thing is. He's like, "I'm about to win this game," so
Yeah, and with the reason why the running backs can do so good without an offensive line there because the running game hasn't been showing up for a decent amount of time. But like you said, Rashad White had a great game, and I feel like it was because the Seahawks were so worried about Baker Mayfield off that play action that they just did not. They didn't know. They're like, you know what, we gotta stay back a little bit because if Baker has this play action play. We'd rather stop that. We'd rather have him not get an 80-yard touchdown than have Rashad White run for at least 10 yards. And Rashad was eating them up off that play action. I feel like every single he got a big yardage. It was off the play action because they were so worried about Baker Mayfield. So yeah, Baker is leading this team to great things. I think they're going to be in the NFC Championship this year. I had them almost making the Super Bowl this year, but if Baker made the Super Bowl this year, I would be so happy. I swear, I'd be the happiest camper in the world if Baker Mayfield led the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a Super Bowl. But now the next topic we get into is Bills lose to the Patriots on Sunday Night Football. That game was such a great game. It was back and forth, back and forth. Drake May showed up, Josh Allen showed up, but it just seemed like the Patriots just did a little bit more, especially with the Patriots leading that game-winning drive, with Drake May leading them down the field, and then the Patriots end up winning that game.
yeah. Yeah, Dylan, shake and bake, baby. Overall, I feel like the Pats really just kind of similar in a sense, kind of like the KC and Jacksonville matchup. Like they both had a really good game in terms of quarterbacks and both offenses, but when it really came down to the wire, man, the Pats just really stepped up, and it just seemed like Drake May damn near had a perfect game in a sense, and Buffalo's defense just did not have an answer for Stephon at all. Like he was just eating them through you know through post routes, going long, everything. Man, he was looking like the old Stephon in a sense before he even got traded. So or even on when he was in Minnesota. So I was like, man, this
Mhm.
is this is the Stephon that everybody remembers. So and not to mention New England's defense really stepped up when it came down to the second half. So and um it wasn't like Josh Allen wasn't playing a bad game, it was just like those little things like and they really thinking about it, like when it came down to the first quarter, they both were kind of fumbling the ball. So everybody's like, man, this
Mhm.
could be anybody's game right now. So but yeah, man, like I said, similar to the Jacksonville game, it's just when it came down to it, the Pats really just kind of put their foot down and was just like, no, we're gonna do what it takes to come out this dub. So, and Drake May just really just played a really good game, and yeah, man, I would probably just give my hats off to them because they really wanted to come into Buffalo, which arguably isn't the best place to come out with a W, especially against that type of team. So
Mhm.
they just simply wanted it more.
Yeah, I would say New England took that win for sure because just every single time Josh Allen answered the bell, Drake May answers the bell. They went back and forth, especially with just Stephon Diggs just coming out there like he looked like a man possessed. He went out there and it seems like nobody could guard him that day. He knew what he if you watched the pregame, it's like he knew he was gonna go what he was gonna go out there and do before the game even started. So with Stephon Diggs the way he played, the way Drake May played, the way that defense stepped up in key moments to stop Josh Allen, and Drake May just answered the bell every single time. So I think that's literally more on the New England just taking that game. Mike Vrabel just showed that this team is something to deal with. I think before the year, we both had the Patriots making the playoffs, and it seems like they're on that trajectory right now because how great they are playing. So yeah, just answer the question. Probably not getting too much into it. Just more of New England took that win. Just like I said, they answered the bell every single time they needed it. They stopped Josh Allen when they needed it. They got I think it's how you say his name. Is it Ramondre Stevenson, or how do you say his name? I think it's something Stevenson. I can't remember his first name.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah, but Stevenson answered the bell, getting those touchdowns. He didn't have the best game on the yardage, but he would get the touchdown when they needed him. And it seemed like everything clicked for New England to win that game. So I don't think the Bills blew that game because, like I said, Josh Allen answered Drake May. We're gonna do a ceiling check on him. With how great Drake May's been playing recently, I'll leave this question off. How far can this go this season for Drake May with how great he's been playing? I'm gonna say the ceiling is legit, guys. I'm gonna say Drake May kind of reminds me of. I don't know if I'm going a little too far. We'll see. We'll see in a couple of years. But just with how he played, Drake May really reminded me of Josh Allen. He literally looked like Josh Allen out there the way he was playing. He was doing everything. He was throwing the ball deep. He was moving out of the pocket. He was running the ball good there. Draft class. I thought Drake May had an argument to be the best quarterback in that league. I mean, in that whole draft class. I thought he could have been better than Caleb. I'll put it this way. I thought Caleb had more talent at the moment. I thought Drake May had more of a high ceiling. I've always liked Drake May. When he come out of college, came to the NFL, I was like, guys, watch out for this guy Drake May. New England got themselves a stud. Like so, better running game, just a little bit better running game, and a better offensive line for Drake May, New England's going to be back. So this season, I think Drake May can lead them to the playoffs. Next season, maybe a divisional round, maybe a conference championship, but not Super Bowl yet. 3 years down the line, I would not be surprised if we see the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl again because Drake May is looking like a stud. So yeah, I think they can go all the way to the playoffs this year and maybe even shock somebody in the playoffs.
Yeah, and like you said, if it's not this year, then the next year. So it's he's definitely taking these baby steps, man, to the post Brady era of being that quarterback that's going to lead this team into success. So, and shoot, even the way that he's playing so far, he could arguably crack that list of being a top 10 for this season. If not top 8.
Mm-hmm.
Just by not even from the recent games, but just the way that he came out and played single handedly against Buffalo. So, in my opinion, he's always had the capability to thrive in that Mike Vrabel slash Josh McDaniels offense. So, he's proven it so far this season. As long as he knows that he can do it and he continues to understand his worth on that team, I feel that he can seriously be a threat, especially to that team that plays over in upstate New York.
Yeah, for sure. And then for them to go into Bills Mafia in that weather that they had over there, going into the stadium of the Bills, he just looked like a stud, man. Like just to say, I can't say anything more about it. Like if this is, I think I told you when we broke down the game because we always, if you guys are here on Saturdays, we always give our full slate of predictions. I thought if the Bills were playing in New England, I would have picked New England. But since they were playing in Buffalo, I picked Buffalo to win the game. I said it was going to be a close game, but I thought Buffalo would win the game because they were at home. And Drake
Right.
May said it don't matter where we're at. We play in Buffalo, we play in New England, we still gonna win this game. I heard one of my friends I was talking to said, "Well, dude, New England always beats Buffalo in the regular season. That's just what happens." But I don't care about that. Like, bro, like Jake May went out there and looked nasty. I like this kid a lot. I think he has potential to be a top 6, top 7 quarterback in the league when all said and done for sure. Like, it's a great quarterback to have post Brady era, and I like Drake May a lot. So like I said, ceiling check. Drake May probably a Super Bowl winning quarterback in the future. I'm gonna say go to the playoffs and they might upset somebody. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that one. The next one, guys, we'll get into the Broncos. This guy has predicted this win, guys. If you guys want an underdog predictor, Hez is on a run for picking some underdog.
They played in Philly.
But the Broncos going into Philly, beating the Eagles, giving them their first loss. Can we say suddenly, after one win with how the Broncos have been looking this past couple weeks and them beating Philly, are they the best team in the AFC?
If they keep playing games like that, then yeah, most definitely. I would kind of want to fight somebody if they said they didn't want to, or kind of give them that. So they can easily be that team to step it up and to kind of just, really contend for that conference. So, and just single handedly having Bo Nix out there and having such a legendary coach as Sean Payton, that already kind of gives them the confidence to come out and be like, yeah, we can do this. We can actually overcome the humps of what we had the last few seasons and, you know, overthrow the reigning last few Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. So, if they know that it's not going to be easy because you got another team out there in LA, which is the Chargers. That's they've been kind of struggling just a tad bit the last couple of weeks, but overall they're still making a statement themselves. So, um, yeah, I would definitely say that they're a top team in the AFC.
Yeah, for sure. I would have to give the Broncos at least like that second or third spot in the AFC. As of
Yeah,
right now, I've had to look at AFC teams. I think we might have to. I know the Bills just lost to the Patriots, but I feel like we still have to put the Bills in number one and the number one spot as of right now, being 4-1. But the Broncos are coming. Broncos, Bo Nix is looking good so far. He's getting better and better every week. He's starting to pick up the pace a little bit. That Broncos defense is clearly the best defense in the NFL right now. It's them and the Jaguars. Those two defenses are nasty, but the Broncos, they're just good everywhere. They can guard the pass. They can stop the run. They even their special teams defense is nasty. That's all a stat where they can't even teams are averaging like less than 10 yards on special teams. I'm like, man, like that's where it all starts. They don't get good field position. It's gonna be hard to get down the field. So that Broncos defense is clearly the best defense in the AFC. Probably second best defense in the. Actually, no, second best defense or maybe number one. Them and the Jaguars. Like I said, it's the argument with. Yeah, I'm gonna give the Broncos that second spot because I can't say they're the best team in the AFC just yet. But beating the Eagles shot them up because they went from like the fourth best team in the AFC because people were saying the Chargers were better, the Chiefs were better, um, Jags are better. But now with them, or even saying that they're even saying the Colts were better. People were saying all these teams are better than them. But now with them coming out there and beating the Eagles in Philadelphia and showing how that defense can play and how Bo Nix can play, I shoot Broncos all the way up to the second best team in the AFC, right behind the Bills. So they keep playing like this. You're right. They keep playing like this in about 2 weeks, and they keep playing this way. We're going to be saying the Broncos are the best team in the AFC, and we should be watching out for the Broncos. You picked the Broncos to get to the Super Bowl, right? Is that what I think your Super Bowl prediction was? Broncos and no, what's it Broncos? No, you picked Ravens. Yeah, never mind. You had the Ravens, but you had the Broncos. You had the Broncos being in the AFC Championship. That's what it was. You had Broncos versus Ravens in the AFC Championship, but just the Ravens, man. Especially when Lamar hurt, that just the Ravens probably might. We'll get into the Ravens probably on our next show, guys, because I don't think I have a topic about the Ravens right now because there's nothing really to talk about the Ravens. They're 1-4, so there's no reason to talk about them. But yeah, I think they're the second best team in the AFC. They shut up a lot, and if they keep playing like this, they'll be number one for sure.
yeah. Um, I think it came down to was it the last play of the game when Jalen Hurts just kind of just halted into the end zone and just looking for a miracle, and the all the I think it was the AJ Brown, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
to try to win the game. But as you see, like all the Broncos defenders, not only they were just surrounding all of them, it was like 3, 4 players all over him trying to knock the ball down. And in most plays like that, you can easily draw like a PI, or they just barely got there. I mean, especially AJ Brown. I know he hasn't really got too many good looks so far in the season, but he's capable of making those catches, almost like a height advantage, or like how Julio used to just come up and moss these people.
No, yeah.
Um, but just the way, like, even though it was batted down, and that was the game and stuff, especially it was a huge win for the Broncos coming into Philly, but just the way that the defenders were really just like surrounding him, and the way that they played the ball, and they waited till literally the last second to be like, nope. But it just kind of just signified it and showed that that was pretty much the game right there. That's pretty much what was gonna happen. Coming out the second half, they're just like, nah, like whatever's gonna take, we're not gonna allow them to make this comeback. We're not gonna allow them to get this rhythm going and to make it feel like they have a fighting chance. So, like I said, it came down to that last play, but that pretty much solidified the game right there, is to show that the defense weren't gonna let up. Can you hear me? Am I here?
Now, and I was like, oh wait, where's it at? But I heard everything you said for sure.
Yeah. My
But
apologies. I
now,
don't I don't have the
give
best connection over here, so it's just kind of cutting off.
me either right now. My Wi-Fi has been weird the last 3 days, dude. Like my router be flashing red sometimes, and then going back and forth on my Spectrum. Y'all need to get their shit together because y'all messing up with my stuff. So, but now we'll get to our next topic, guys. Stay Eagles. With everything going on with the Eagles right now, with AJ Brown wanting more touches, with Jalen Hurts trying to force feed AJ Brown throwing the ball, with them not using Saquon Barkley as much as they probably should. Saquon Barkley, what he had like 6 or 7 carries last. He is playing a football, but they were winning games. They were getting first downs. I know they've only lost one game, but they should have two losses. If you remember, guys, the Rams. When you told me, I'm so pissed off about that. The Rams should have won that game, but they should have two losses right now to the Broncos and the Rams. But with the Eagles, just like they don't know if they want to run the ball right now. They're trying to force feed AJ Brown. It seems like Jalen Hurts is forcing stuff, trying to throw more because I feel like the league is. I feel like the league is in their ear, like, hey, stop doing the tush push so much, or we're gonna ban it. Like, just stop. Like, stop doing that. Stop playing the way you're doing because it's not good for the network thing. But
Yeah.
just the way they're playing, I just don't like how they're looking right now. Like I know they're 4-1, but the last 3 games I have not liked how the Eagles are looking. So I guess the question is have the Eagles lost their identity? And I'll leave this one. I'll say yes, yes they have. And they're letting the media, they're letting the NFL, they're letting the fans get to them because people don't like to see the tush push. They don't like to see them playing that kind of like gritty type of football that's not like the best best football for the eyes of watching it. And I feel like it's getting to them, and I feel like they've completely lost their identity. With AJ Brown complaining, they don't know if they want to throw him the ball or not. They're force feeding him. They're running Saquon Barkley 6, 7 times in a game, which is blasphemy to use that man after over 2,000 yards last year. Now you're running him like less than like 15 times a game. I feel like they're trying to feed these guys egos. Like, you know what? The one guy that does not have an ego on that team that does not care is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts have no ego. Jalen Hurts is like, you know what? I'm here to win. I want to run the ball. You guys want me to throw the ball, whatever. Just call the play, and I'll do whatever you say, coach. And that's why I like Jalen Hurts so much. But with AJ Brown complaining and him wanting the ball, with Devontae Smith starting to chirp a little bit now. Devontae Smith, he's not chirping, like talking, but on the field, you see his body language. He's kind of like, I'm open. Give me the ball. Like then it seems like they're trying to force feed the ball everywhere. And Saquon is probably sitting back now. Like, guys, y'all forget that I had over 2,000 yards last year. So I feel like the team is just in balance. The Eagles are getting to them, and everything just starting to go downhill for the Eagles. But they're playing the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Thursday kind of don't like it. I think this is a good spot for them just because you need to get that team together, and maybe a short break would actually help you because you want to get your team back out there and try to get back to your winning ways before you lose another game, and then you just lose everything. But as of right now, they're not looking good. Like I know they're 4-1, so the record says so. But if you just watch the egos and watch the identity of the team, how the attitudes are coming up, Saquon getting like 6 or 7 touches in the game, which is crazy. I feel like they're losing their identity as being that gritty, hard nosed Philadelphia team. They're trying to turn into that flashy team, and they tried that this past week and they lost. So I feel like they are losing
Yeah.
their identity a bit.
Yeah, I would have to be on the same page because I just feel like because they simply just aren't executing as much as they would like to on the field. No, like you said, they're playing flashy. They're you know, kind of overthinking everything. And I feel like also a lot of these teams are kind of starting to catch on or figure out their scheme, and such as like most of the times, like as we've seen in the past, they're mainly run, 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 and then like if Jalen has to pass when it matters, then he'll just do it. But for the most part, they're gonna always look to see if Saquon can set the tone, or they could just simply get that running game going, and then see where they can go and kind of draw up some plays. But and overall the chemistry, like you said, it just isn't really there. Like it's always everything just feels forced. It comes down to AJ Brown. Like I know they've been overhearing about how much he's not happy, and how much he can be a vocal point of this offense. So the fact that they keep, force feeding him the ball and feeling like, hey, like here's the ball. And it's just like, no, man, that's not how you play winning football at that. So that's not how you get people on your team on the same page. So yeah, overall it's I just feel like they are really losing themselves because now that they're kind of forced to put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands, it's like, yeah, now he has to adapt to kind of making more plays out of that instead of just, yeah, we're gonna run the ball probably three down straight, and then we're gonna try to pass the ball. So, and obviously it was their Achilles heel because when it came down to it, uh, the Broncos kind of and essentially just kind of exposed them. So, and yeah, hopefully they'll change some things around. But as of right now, yeah, I feel like they're not really looking like the same Eagles team, especially on offense. And it really just feels like the defense really has to bail them out a lot of times in order for them to feel like they gain the momentum back. So yeah, only time will tell. And if they are gonna really get back on track, I feel they're gonna have to actually do that. Most likely against the Giants this upcoming week.
Was the How Diggs seems like he's starting to like it in New England, so they might just stay with AJ Brown. Honestly, the Eagles how they've been looking. Now let's get to another 4-1 team, guys. The Colts are 4-1. Indiana Jones just led them to a blowout against the Raiders, and my stupid ass came on here and picked the Raiders and said I thought the Raiders were going to win that game, but Raiders are another thing got blew out. I never trust in the Raiders ever again. Kind of crazy for me to even 4-1. Colts, they're on top of the division. Them and the Jaguars. I believe they're in the same division, right? The Jaguars and Colts. I
Yeah,
believe they're in the same division. But what's it called? With the Colts and the Jaguars leading that division, both 4-1. With the Colts, like I said, do you think they're contenders? I'm talking about for a Super Bowl, like getting to that AFC Championship game, because usually 4-1 teams get there. Do you think they're contenders or pretenders? What's going on?
than that, the only ones that were pretty confident were Raider fans because they were coming to
Hmm.
season like this team looks different. We got Pete, we got Gino, we got Ashton back there, and he's not really even doing too much. Like he'll have a couple of plays where it's like, yeah, this is why the rookie is probably gonna have a breakout year, but it's like overall the team just looks disgustingly bad. Like so that was essentially a gimme win for them. So right, yeah, like if they had hypothetically, if they had came out and beat the Rams the other week, then maybe they could be possibly be a contender. But and they end up losing the game. But other than that, all their wins so far, it's been pretty easy wins for the most part. And like I said, they have a good team, but they're they're not making a believer out of me at this very moment. So I'm gonna have to say they're pretenders.
The Atlanta Hawks from a few years back, when the Atlanta Hawks were the number one seed in the whole entire NBA in the Eastern Conference, and everyone's talking about, oh, this team doesn't have a superstar, but they're all winning a whole bunch of games, and they're going to be the number one seed, and then they went out there and lost in the first round. So,
That's
I
a good comparison, actually.
that's like who this team reminds me of. They don't have a one bona fide superstar on that team. I guess you can lean Jonathan Taylor. That's like probably a top five running back, but it's iffy if he's a superstar or not. Daniel Jones is a guy that's not really a big threat. No one thought their defense. Nobody, you can't name one great player on that defense. You can't name one great player on the offensive line. I think the one player you can actually talk about is Jonathan Taylor, but they remind me of that team, the Atlanta Hawks. So the Atlanta Hawks won a whole bunch of games that season, but then they got to the playoffs and lost. Or if you want an NFL reference, they remind me of the Minnesota Vikings of last year, where the Minnesota Vikings went out there and they won a whole bunch of games with Sam Darnold, and they went into the playoffs and lost the first game of the playoffs. Like so, I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl threat at all. The one team they actually played, that was a hard team. They went out there and lost to. So I think easily the pretenders. I picked the Rams. I picked the Raiders this past week because I really thought like I was like, you know what, this is gonna be a trap game. I feel like the Raiders are gonna come out here and have a chance to win this game, but the Colts went in there and said no, Raiders suck. And I don't know why I even picked the Raiders. Like Geno Smith to throw an interception, and you can bet that every single game and for the rest of the year, and you'll be up a whole bunch of money because it seems like Geno throw like two or three picks a game. So Geno is starting to get back to that bad play of Geno Smith. He probably should have just stayed. He probably should have just stayed in Seattle over there. But now he came over here with Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll being the oldest coach in the NFL right now, it seems like he needs to shake things up a little bit. Maybe get a young offensive coordinator, get a couple young guys in there. But it seems like as of right now, it don't matter who you put on the team. The Raiders are always going to be the Raiders, and they're just going to be trash, to be honest. So it's kind of like the Raiders are just not good. They have not had a good team since John Madden was a coach over there. So they have not had a good team yet. So yeah, I think the last time they had a good squad that was actually decent is when they had Derek Carr over there, and they had a good year. But then yeah, so the Raiders are not good. The Colts, I believe they're pretenders because they have not beat anybody yet. We'll see when they play the harder schedule down the line, and we'll see how they can start winning these big games. Because the one team they have played against that's a good team is the Rams, and they lost that game. So yeah, pretenders for me as well.
Yeah, man. That's pretty much all I have to say about that because it's just, I mean, it really is no different from what my opinion about them the last couple weeks in a row. It's they just simply haven't played anybody, and like I just said, if hypothetically if they had came to LA to beat the Rams, maybe I put them up a little bit more. But as of right now, I just don't really see them like that.
2 part. I just got over it. I at least trust the Colts. The quarterback, yes, the offensive line's good. The running, I just I just trust the Colts right now. They played one good team and they lost, so I don't feel like I don't really have to get into much into that because I just really broke that whole entire thing down. But the least most I trust is going to be is going to be the I just said them, Indianapolis Colts. The team I trust the most right now, even though they just lost this past week, is the Buffalo Bills. They're 4-1 right now, but they're going to what they know every single time. They use Josh Allen, they use James Cook, they have their identity right. I know a lot of people might say, "Oh, I trust the Eagles the most," but like I said, I don't trust that. I think the Eagles have got away from their identity. The Bills have not. The Bills know Josh Allen is their guy. They know they need to play some better defense. They know that James Cook is a good running back, and it seems like they do everything right. Like, the Bills could have won that game against the Patriots and been 5-0 right now, as long if Drake May just didn't have a sensational game. Drake May just went out there and answered the bell on every single throw. Every single time they needed a response, Drake May gave it to them. Every time Josh Allen needed a response, Josh Allen gave it to them. So it was just a game where they just lost a shootout, and teams are not going to go undefeated. And especially those divisional games are games you can lose sometimes. They're divisional matchups. I feel like everybody hates divisional matchups when it comes down to it. Like, it don't matter what teams are. The spread is always alive to bet the underdog on divisional matchups because these teams just know how to play against each other. So the team I least trust the most is the Colts at 4-1. Team I trust the most at 4-1 is Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean, those literally two teams I pretty much put in there as well, just because even though they just lost, like you said, the Bills are still not to be reckoned with. Like they might actually took that personal. Like, yeah, we lost to the Patriots, and usually it is kind of a struggle because it's that in division matchup, but this could potentially spark them once again and being like, no, like people are gonna probably write us off because like, oh yeah, Drake May could be up there with Josh Allen, which rightfully so. He's a great quarterback, but yeah, I just feel like the Bills are still that team also that teams are looking to look for and be like, yeah, kind of scared to go against them because for most times than not, they're gonna come out and dominate a lot of football games. So I trust them the most. And if it was like a little honorable mention, it'd probably be the Lions too. But definitely, I'll have the Bills up there. And same thing, I just simply don't trust the Colts at all. They haven't shown me
Mm-hmm.
anything, and unless I haven't really checked their schedule, I'm probably gonna do that later. But so far, they just simply haven't played anybody, man. And it would have been a different story if they would have made a statement and came out and beat the Rams, which I didn't really. We both didn't think they were gonna do anyway. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's just easier said than done to kind of keep them in that conversation of are they legit or are they just kind of getting lucky at this point? But yeah, so, unless they can start winning more competitive football games against better opponents, I'm just always gonna feel like, yeah, you guys might have a good record on paper, but when it's said and done, like you're not gonna do what it takes to actually compete in that way. So yeah, I'm gonna have the Bills as that I really trust the most, even though they just lost, and then yeah, I just don't trust the Colts at all.
So yeah, I just trust Josh Allen more than I trust Jared Goff. So that's Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders now QB2. He's right behind Dylan Gabriel. They just traded away Joe Flacco to the Bengals, where I don't understand that trade. Like, I don't understand what the Bengals are doing. Like, why Joe Flacco? You could have got Russ. You could have got Russ. You could have got Jameis, but Joe Flacco's the one you went with. I don't understand it. I don't. We'll see. Maybe Joe Flacco comes out here and proves me wrong. Joe Flacco has a great season, but dumb trade for Cincinnati. Me and you both said Cincinnati needs to make a move for a quarterback, and we both thought either go get. We had three players in our head. We had Russ, Jameis, or Shador, and they went and got Joe Flacco. It's it's so crazy to me, but the one thing that did is they opened up that QB2 spot for Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders is officially the backup quarterback. He's at number two. Dylan Gabriel just went out there in his debut game and went out there and lost, just like me and you both thought. We both thought he would lose. I'm not gonna say he had a bad game. He had a decent game. It was okay, but he still couldn't score no points. He still didn't look electric out there. It seems like he was the way I watched the games. I want to see how Dylan Gabriel played. It seems like the way the Browns played offense, they try to protect Dylan Gabriel as much as possible. They threw nothing deep. They threw everything within the line, within the 10 yards. Everything was a short pass. They tried to run the ball a little bit more. They didn't try to let him do anything as much. They tried to keep him in the pocket, throwing little Deke and Dak plays because it seemed like they wanted to protect him. Because if they knew if he would have went down deep a couple times and let him throw the ball how he wanted to, he'd throw some picks, and the game would have been a lot like probably a lot worse. But if you're gonna throw the ball like that, like little tiny passes like that over and over again, you're not gonna win no games. You're not gonna score no points. What are you gonna do? Get down to a field goal, and that's about it. Like so, Dylan Gabriel, he had his a start. I think it was okay. He didn't do anything drastically bad, but he just proved that he can't score points. And he looked like a little kid out there, dude. Like he's so small. Like he looked so small. So I am happy that Shador's QB2 now because I guarantee Dylan Gabriel gonna lose like two more games. He gonna lose the next two games. I gotta look at the schedule, but he gonna lose those next two games. He gonna look bad while doing it because eventually he gonna have a bad game and throw like two picks, and then you gonna see Shador Sanders charge onto that field, and that's gonna be the fine moment because I told you guys many times he is better than Dylan Gabriel. He is better than Spencer Rattler. He's better than a lot of these starting quarterbacks in the league. I swear he is better than them. Arguably, he might be just as talented as Mac. Like right now, he's just as talented as Mac Jones. Like he's in that area where he can come out there and do something like very electric, just like that. So, and he's still young, his rookie year. But I'm happy that he's QB2 because I think that means that he will be getting a start coming up soon. And like I said, Dylan Gabriel's gonna have a couple bad games. Then you go see Shador Sanders making that Tim Tebow walk, like how Tim Tebow came onto the field, but everyone was like, "It's Tebow time." We go see a Shador time. We're gonna be seeing that. So, yeah, happy that Shador is QB2 now, and he will be getting a spot. Yeah.
Ready per se. Who's to know? Maybe I don't know. He can get a change of scenery like a lot of other quarterbacks, like a Daniel Jones, or so maybe another fresh start. But as far as being with this Cleveland team, it's just looking like it's not promising. And I don't even think that the Browns organization are even interesting in him in that much. They're just kind of like, okay, next man up. Let's just see what we can work with. But deep down, they know that they pretty much know deep down that they're gonna have Shador set up to have success. Now he's gonna finally get his chance, and he's worked his way up through the depth chart. So, and rightfully so. So it's like, man, yeah, it's only a matter of time. And you know, they're not gonna, as I said before, the Browns are not gonna be disappointed. They're not gonna feel anything about it once Shador actually comes out there, because not only they're gonna be winning more football games, but they're gonna have somebody that actually fits. Somebody that's actually gonna take them to that next level. So yeah, man. Realistically, it's like I said, I'm just counting down the days. Like, I'll probably give maybe 3 games also for Dylan Gabriel until they're just like, okay, like you're still gonna be on this team, but it's Shador time. It's time to bring out the watch. It's time to get what everybody came here for. So, yeah, man. I'm already also saying it now. Like, yep, it's Shador time.
Shift. As soon as I'm just calling it right now. As soon as Shador gets on that field and he goes down and scores a touchdown, that whole entire team gonna run it behind him. Just like it's gonna be a whole culture change. They're all gonna be like it's Shador times. I feel like all the players want Shador starting, but the people that don't want him to start are the coach and the owner and the NFL. Not the NFL, but more like the other owners. This kid, and that's not what you do. You don't take out your frustrations on the dad on the kid. Like this kid is talented. I've said it many times. I don't understand how someone starts off as the second overall pick projected going after the season, and then drops all the way down to 9, and then goes all the way down to the fifth round. Like I don't. It does never happens. Like it's not possible for that to happen. So clearly, when I watched Mel Kiper and I can't remember this other guy's name, Mel Kiper, and there's this guy that covers college football on Fox. I can't remember Joe Clapp. I think it's Joe Clapp. I think it's Clapp. Yeah, they both said that this guy is was a top 10 talent, and those guys know what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I don't understand it, but I'm happy. I'm happy that he is QB2 because I know for sure Dylan Gabriel ain't come out there and do anything special, and he's probably gonna go out there and lose the next couple games. I don't even know the schedule. I don't even know who they play, but they're gonna come out there and they're gonna lose it because Dylan Gabriel is that quarterback. And what the NFL needs to understand: short quarterbacks cannot be great. They can't. Like, look, the one quarterback I thought that could do it was Kyler Murray, but he's showing that he can't even do it himself. Like he can't even do it. Like, and Kyler Murray is talented, but he just can't. He's too small. Like, he really is just too small. And Bryce Young is having a resurgence in his career a little bit. Bryce Young's playing really well. They just won back-to-back games, but that's another guy. I personally thought Bryce Young might have been more talented than Kyler as a just pure talent. But Kyler was able to move around the pocket a little bit more, so he's a speedster. Like I say, he has little roadrunner feet, just running everywhere. So like I really thought Kyler Murray was a big chance to do it. I thought Bryce Young was a little bit more talented than Kyler at throwing the ball, pure just throwing the ball. I thought Bryce Young had a good chance of doing it, but everyone's looking at for the next Russell Wilson or Drew Brees. Everyone's looking for those guys that just like, oh, 5'11", 6 foot and can play. Drew Brees was an anomaly. Drew Brees is someone that just was so accurate at throwing the ball that where he was small, but he was able to throw the ball so accurately. Russell Wilson, he's small too. But one thing about Russell, coming out of college, this man had tree trunks for legs. If you remember, his legs are like tree trunks. Like this dude, yes, he's small in height, but that man's body was thick. Like he was NFL ready. Like what's it called? Dylan Gabriel's like a stick, and he's very small. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, if you saw it last year with Bryce Young, or Bryce Young was a rookie, how small he was. So yeah, I don't understand what the quarterback they're trying to do. You have a guy that's a prototype, 6'2", 6'3". He has very good accurate pass. He doesn't have the best deep threat of an arm, but he's very accurate. Tom Brady said that he thought that Shador was the most accurate quarterback coming out of college, and he's Tom Brady. And if you can't trust Tom Brady, who can you trust then? You can't trust Joe Clair, Mel Kiper, who can you trust? So yeah, I'm happy he's gonna get a spot, and I like me and you both agree. In the next couple weeks, Shador will be walking onto that field quarterback.
Yep, and that's a fact, Jack. Because like I said, Dylan Gabriel he's not it. He's just not built for
Hmm.
those. He's not built for this team in general. So yeah, I don't think that it's gonna be really a no. It's gonna be a no brainer. The fact that Shador is gonna at some point, and we already said it. We kind of already expected how the way things were gonna go down. We didn't really expect that Joe Flacco was gonna be traded so suddenly. But at the same time, now that he's gone, it's everybody's already looking forward to having Shador on the field. So
Yeah,
I don't. There's nobody else that should rightfully so earn that position right now. So and we said before, like even if he comes out and struggles a little bit, throws a pick or two or whatever, that's just the growing pains with it. But overall, like from his height and how he plays on the field, he's just the perfect person and the perfect fit for this team. So yeah, it's not going to be. It shouldn't be any issue of why he should be on the team. And I understand they're trying to get back at Dion, and even then, I'm looking at everybody like, why are y'all hating on Dion so much? Y'all act like he's really just bashing everybody or this and that. He was really good player. He's a Super Bowl multiple time winning champion, and obviously, his best years when he had his sons there at Colorado, and he's still trying to revamp that up this year. Colorado's not really doing too good, but it's like it's Deion Sanders now. So the fact that he both got both of his sons in the league, but really Shador leading the way, it's like why are y'all trying to pick him to be the one to hate on? It's like, man, he's the most, like, if not the humblest player right now in the league. So yeah, man, I feel like when he does get that chance, he's gonna show everybody what he's made of, and he's gonna continue to be humble because that's just Shador. He comes from a great family tree of winning DNA.
even though I'm just excited they got Shador up to that 2 spot. But now getting to our next topic, guys. Right before we get into our top 5 teams of the week, we're gonna get into some Thursday night football. I always forget it's the first week I actually remembered, guys. I always come out at the end of the show. I'm like, oh, I forgot about Thursday night football. But this week I remembered Thursday night football. The Eagles taking on the Giants. I believe. Let me double check. I believe this game is going to be in New York. I believe so. Let me double check before I say that.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart went out there and lost. I don't know. I don't know how they lost to the Saints, but the Eagles going into New York. How do you feel about this game?
I feel like ultimately it has to be a bounce back for the Eagles. Not to say that the Giants don't have the capability of keeping it a close game. I still, we both are still very much a big fan of Jackson Dart and believe that he will still have success with this team, regardless of how this year plays out for the rest of the season. He is that guy that, that they were hoping him to be, or that they're now starting to see. So, um, I do feel like he's gonna, for the most part, have a pretty good game, and that's gonna
Hmm.
be the pretty much the reason why the Giants are pretty much in it. But overall, like I said, I feel like the Eagles are gonna show why they are fresh off a championship, that they're the defending champs, and that they're gonna have to get things together. So, and the Giants defense are pretty much like pretty legit for the most part. But all in all, it's I don't know if they're gonna actually when the game's on the line are actually gonna hang with the Eagles like that. So I'm gonna have Philly coming out in this game, and right off the top, if I had to come with a score, I want to say 24-20 Eagles.
20.
Yeah, 24-20 or 21-24.
Okay, so now a lot looking good in that game. Good, quick turnaround bounce back for them. You want to get those jitters out quick. It's like they lost to the Broncos. Now they're going against the Giants. Another team that has a good defense, but their offense is not as good as the Broncos, and they don't have the good enough coach like the Broncos do. So I'm taking the Eagles to win this game. I'll put it this way: if the Giants would have beat the the Saints last week, I might come on here and say, guys, it might be an upset alert. It might be an upset for the Giants coming here with another game with Jackson Dart. But after they lost to the Saints, I just don't see how they're gonna do it. I officially have given up my take that the Giants are gonna make the playoffs. It's gonna happen anyway. Last week, I'll give up hope on it. You let Spencer Rattler go out there and throw for 2 touchdowns and like something like 250 yards. It's kind of like I don't know why, but yeah, I'm gonna say that the Eagles win this game. I'm gonna say Eagles win this game 27-17. I think the Eagles win this game pretty comfortably by at least 10 points, even though they're on the road. But I think
Yeah, that's that seems pretty accurate.
now we get to our last topic of the day, guys. Like we always do on the Wednesdays, we come on here, we give our top 5 teams of the week for our NFL teams after week 5. We're now going to week 6.
This was the hardest one because I'm like, I want to take this team. I want to take this team out. So, I'm to be honest with you, this week I'm not really too sold on my list. I'm just kind of just winging it in a sense. But starting from the bottom, like I usually do, at number 5, I'm gonna roll with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Surprisingly, because
Mm.
they're really having a good season so far, and that win against KC really is kind of putting them over that hump in a sense of like, yeah, like they're gaining their confidence back. They're having a good quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence is now, kind of showing all the haters that, like, sorry, that he can actually, be potentially like a good comeback player of the year as you had him there. So they jumped up to my list as the top 5 of this week. Number 4, I'm gonna have the Broncos because that was a really big win for them against the Eagles, and I'm hoping that this would actually lead them to go on a little bit of a roll, just for the simple fact that they really came into Philly out of all places. Like the number one. That's the number one place where nobody likes to go play because you're just getting chewed out by somebody's granny. So yeah, so the Broncos really made a big jump for me this week. That's why I pretty much had him at number 4. Um, at number 3, Imma have to go with my Bucks because, it's been really tight. It's been really nerve-wracking for the most part. They are keeping these games really close. And even when it seems like, oh, okay, this defense ain't really been on their game too much, or at least when they step up to really matter, they might actually let a team and do the opposite of what we've been doing, just driving it down the field and make a game winning field goal. I honestly thought Sam Darnold was going to do it and be like, yeah, all he needs to get just a little bit over midfield and they're going to kick to win the game. Obviously, we made some big plays, and that's when it really mattered. And I'm even more happy the fact that Levante David was the one, the veteran, to actually make that game-winning interception. So overall, I feel like they really stepped up as a team, and you know, dealing with all the injuries and really dealing with a bunch of third stringers and people who would just sign off practice squads from other teams. Like they're making the most out of it, and they're just using of what they have. Man, they really are doing it, and they rightfully so. A lot of people can argue saying like, oh, they're just lucky. They easily should be like 4-2, right, or 4-3 or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, like it's really who wants it more. So clearly Baker and the guys, they're really they're backing it up. Um Number 2, I'm gonna have the Lions because they just single-handedly haven't they just really haven't seemed like they slowed down at all. They're playing really good football. Um Jared Goff is just really playing lights out right now. They have those two-headed horses in the backfield, to kind of run the ball. Defense is playing superior right now, so it's like, man, what's there to really argue about except for the fact that they're playing like, if not their best football in a while. I mean, I know they almost made the Super Bowl the other year. All that was in their way was against the Niners, but they were really stacked. But other than that, the Lions has really made that jump. They really made that leap in terms of not only being a team to be reckoned with in the NFC, but just out of the whole league in general. A lot of teams are actually scared to play the Lions now because they're like, man, they could go over the top on us all
Mhm.
day, or they could just run us all the way to the ground as they did the other week against the Ravens. So, um, yeah, that's why they made my list as number 2. As number 1, even though they just lost, I'm gonna still say the Bills, just because, yeah, like for the most part, Josh Allen and the whole team really played good. Cook was out there cooking. So yeah, man, the Bills just look like they're still the team to beat, even though the Patriots came in there and beat them, in Buffalo. But for the most part, the Bills are really that team that even though they just took a L, everybody still has to look forward to them on their schedule and being like, man, this is going to be a really tough matchup, and not even that, but even though uh, even though they're still trying to like get on this little groove overall, like they're still a team that can potentially go all the way this year. So, I already had said before that the Ravens were possibly going to go. Now I'm gonna have to retract back that. And if I didn't have them, I was gonna have the Bills. So that's who I'm pretty much gonna be riding with for duration of the season. So yeah, that's pretty much my top of the list right there is the Bills. But yeah, that's my order. Can you hear me? My bad. It's kind of cutting in and out right now. I can't really. Yo, hold up. I'm just waiting for this to kind of unfreeze.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, like I think we're back. I think we are
All right,
back.
cool.
Okay, so yeah, crazy. Like I said, the connection, guys, has been crazy. Even I think I might have like a little lag on my voice to like my face. But let's get right to this last topic before we get out of here. So now my top five teams in NFL. My top five teams, guys, are going to be like how can you put them in there? But I'm doing it. I'm putting the Rams at five. City Chiefs against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But they just made mistakes and lost the game. And I do believe that's the same thing. The Rams against the Niners, and the Rams against the Jack. I mean, against the Eagles. We are the better Buccaneers are the fourth best team in this I think they're making their way have an argument for the best team in uh, football at the moment. They're at least like second best team in the NFL. Are the best team. I'm taking the Buccaneers at two, just the way Baker. I mean, I'm taking Buccaneers at four because just the way Baker's been playing, the way that they not healthy and they're still winning games. And when they get healthy, they will probably end up moving those spots up more for sure. But as of right now, I have them at four because the teams I cannot put them above as of right now. I get the Broncos at three. The Broncos going out there and beating Philadelphia. The Broncos out there just looking at the team in this league. They're well coached defense. Bo Nix. I was thinking about either three or six spot. It's all lined up. So I have, I want to say number six. I have six and seven, honestly, because I have at six, I have Philly. I, so like it's like all lined up right there. I think all those teams are literally even right now. I know the Broncos. I mean, I know the Broncos have a 3-2. I think they're 3-2, right? Broncos are 3-2. I think the Broncos are 3-2. Yes, but they're at third. We don't come in here. If you guys want the standings, go buy a USA Today paper. We give our top five teams. We don't just give the standings on here. So third, I have the Broncos. Second, guys, I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills are the second best team in the league, coming off a loss Patriots. I still believe they're a better team than a lot of these teams. I believe that, like I told you earlier, I think they're the most team I trust the most going down the line as a 4-1 team. But I have the Bronco. I mean, I have the Bills at number two. I think Josh Allen having a good season so far. I think that team is well coached. I think they have an all around team everywhere. So I have the Bills at number two. And at number one, guys, best team in the NFL so far and for this week, guys. I'm taking the Detroit Lions as the best team in the NFL as of right now. The Detroit Lions have just been playing really, really good. Like a two-headed monster back there. They can go out there and run the ball on you. They can pass the ball. Their defense has been showing up. They're well coached. See that Dan Campbell's got this team playing really hard. They've had some good wins so far, and just with all the expectations kind of being off of them, they've been proving people wrong. So I think they've made a giant jump, and to me, they're the best team in the NFL as of right now. So if I had to say it one more time, I got the Lions at one, Bills at two, Broncos at three, Bucks at four, and the Rams at five.
Yeah, that's a really solid list, actually. I'll say it was actually better than mine because honestly, I just put I just honestly last minute just threw the Jags in there just because I wanted to give them love for the week.
Yeah,
But
I almost did too. I had them at
yeah,
6. I almost did too.
like I knew for sure I was gonna throw Denver in there, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just do it. Just put the Jags in there. They deserve the love this week. That was a big win. I almost wanted to put the Cowboys in there too at 5, just because they been kind of doing their thing, and even though it was just the Jets, like they played a dominant game. They played good on both sides of the ball. No matter
Mhm.
even running the ball. So I was like, yeah, this is they definitely deserve an honorable mention. But yeah, I just wanted to give the love to some Jacksonville fans for once.
Yeah, and honestly, I almost put him in there too. I have the Rams at 5, and people are probably gonna be like, people are gonna say the same thing about the Broncos and the Rams. Oh, how are you gonna have the Rams coming off a loss to the 49ers and the Niners beat them, and the Niners have a better record? How are you gonna have the Rams better than them? Guys, just look at the teams and go watch the game. The Rams are better. They just lost. And if people are gonna
Yeah,
be like, oh, how do you have the Eagles not in the top 5 and the Rams there because they're 4-1 and the Rams beat the Rams? Whoa, go watch their game. The Rams are better. They just lost. Like they lost the game, but they're better. But people are gonna say the same thing about the Broncos. Oh, the Broncos are 3-2. How are you gonna have 4-1 teams out of their top 5 and not have the 4-1 teams all in the top 5? Like I said, this ain't the standings. You want to see the standings? Go on NFL.com. Go buy a newspaper for USA Today. They have the standings and the power rankings right there for you, right there. But we're gonna go and we're not gonna give you the standings. We're gonna give you our top 5 teams, and I believe the Rams are a top 5 team in this NFL still right now. If
yeah,
you if you watch First Take, Stephen A. Smith, he always gives out his top 5 teams in a week. He has the Rams at 2. He had the Rams as the second best team in the NFL. And people were like, I'll tell you right now, when I saw Stephen A. do that, I was like, he understands. He gets it. But at the same time, we're not number 2. We're not. You can't put us at 2. Like that's way too high. Like calm down the breath a little bit. The Rams at 2, but we're top 5 for sure. And yeah, I just those are my top 5 teams. I'm sticking with it, and I believe the Rams are going to come out and make a better jump. I think I think the Broncos have turned the pace, and they're trying to pick up the pace. So I don't care if they're 3-2, not 4-1 like the other 3 teams. They still deserve a top 5 spot.
yeah. That's factual.
Yeah, but right before we get out of here, guys, as I have 9 minutes before I gotta actually get out of here and go do some stuff. But Hez, before we get out of here, do you have anything else you want to talk about going into this upcoming week?
Honestly, I really didn't want to bring it up because I was just like, just kind of like just discuss it. But you had brought it up a couple times earlier, so I feel like it's only right. My phone's gonna die too, so I want to leave it off with this. Is that just going back to the Joe Flacco trade, man? Like I, like I said, I didn't want to bring it up, but I was just like, look, like at some point we got to bring it up. That what is the Bengals thinking, man? Like, first of all, you just trade made a trade for somebody that's already in your division, and
Mm-hmm.
then out of all the other options out there, as we've said before, the Russes of the world, the Jabus, you could have traded for Shador himself, even though he's a rookie. But obviously, it's turned out better because now he's going to be next in line within a matter of weeks. That he's going to be the one to lead the Browns. But I don't know what Cincinnati is thinking, man. Like it's bad enough. Like if I felt like, man, if that was the case, you could have just kept Jake Browning out there and let him just try to figure it out. But you really just signed Joe Flacco, or you made a trade. You wasted a 6th round draft pick to get him on the team, and it's like, do you really honestly think that's gonna actually help overall? Like that, and it's not just at the quarterback position. Like your line is terrible. Like
Yeah.
defense is not doing good. So it's like out of all things you can address, you're gonna go out and get a 40-year-old out there who hasn't done anything for the longest. Like, and he's been a journeyman for the longest. That was his second stint with Cleveland. So I'm like, okay, but now I'm thinking that's gonna be it. Like he's probably gonna retire at the end of the season if they do decide to keep him around or whatever. But either way, this was gonna be his last hoorah. But now he's like, oh, I'm actually going to the division rival, the other team in Ohio. So I'm like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I just can't imagine him actually being on that team right now. And they actually wasted a draft pick to get him. So I was like, I understand they're in desperate mode, but like I said, all the other options out there, you really went and got him. So, and I don't think that it's gonna even work when it comes down to having him play QB and think that it's gonna get the offense going, let alone Jamar and T Higgins.
Yeah, like I agree. I don't understand it. You wasted a 6 round draft pick on a guy that's gonna be out of the league probably this year. Like you wasted like at least with Russell or at least with Jameis, you can have them as a backup quarterback for like another year, maybe 2 years. But you traded a 6 round pick for a guy that's gonna be gone. It's like he's in your Jake Browning is going to be your backup quarterback probably again next year. What is that going to do for you? What if Joe Burrow gets hurt again? You're going to have to make another trade another pick to get another quarterback because you're going to go out there and have Jake Browning as your backup still back to back years. And Joe Flacco doesn't give you a chance to win. He can rarely. I know they have Jamar and they have T Higgins, but still, you have to give them the ball. There's two quarterbacks that for sure can give them the ball. They might make mistakes, but Russell and Jameis can both throw the ball and get them the ball. They have proven that they'll at least over 400 yards before in the last couple games that they've actually played. Joe
Yeah.
Flacco hasn't thrown over 250 in like 3 years. So it's just a dumb trade. I don't understand it. He couldn't score any points with Cleveland. Now you're expecting him to go out there and score points with Cincinnati. It's kind of dumb. I don't understand the trade at all. It seems like they've officially given up on their season.
Yeah, for real. It's like what if the Dolphins traded somebody their backup to the Jets? It's like, man, like you really think it's gonna be that much better? It's just I don't know. It's just totally weird to me to be like, yeah, I'm just make that trade from the rival Orange team out there in Ohio. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna get him and bring him in and think that's gonna be the answer to everything, let alone being the actual backup for Joe Burrow. Like it's bad enough you got Jake Browning out there, but then what do you have to lose? Like if you weren't gonna make that splash and grabbing somebody that's a decent backup that's proven, there was no point. And as we
Yeah.
said, you wasted a whole draft pick to grab this 40-year-old who hasn't been him since he's left the Ravens and won that Super
Hmm.
Bowl. So I just don't get it. I'm just looking at this point. I'm just like, as soon as I seen it through social media, and then you had sent it to me, the post, and I was just like, at that point, I'm like, I'm just gonna look. I'm just gonna probably write the Bengals season off because there's no reason for that.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Don't understand it at all. Dumb trade, really, really bad. I don't like. But hey, it helps Shador. That's all that matters. That's all I care about. It helps Shador get into the second
Yeah,
cube,
that's
second
the
QB,
positive side.
QB spot. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Like I said, I got things to do in the next like 3 minutes, so I got to get my butt on out of here. Heads, the phone's about to die, so we gotta tune this out while we can. I'm the Wager Zone, your host. This is our co-host, Hezi Hybrid. You guys are here for the first time. This is episode 11 of After the Snap. Like the video, subscribe to the page. We will be back Saturday with talking about Thursday Night Football and our entire Week 6 slate for Sunday and give our predictions on those. So, all right, guys, you want to say bye to the people ahead before I click out of here?
Yes, sir. Just want to say everybody stay safe, stay positive, stay hydrated, and keep authentically being you.
Yep, like always, guys. That's what we do. That's what we're here talking about football, and we will be getting to Lakers season. Me and him probably be a little bit more passionate too about the Lakers. We're about to be sitting here like,
Woo woo. Hennessy ad. I would like to take my talents to my partnership with Hennessy. I was
I
so
was
hot.
so, I was so mad. I was like, bro, like, get out of here with your dumb games you always be doing. You care more about his brand than anything in the world. I swear, bro. Like, but all
God.
right, guys, I got to get out of here. So, Hez, we will probably talk about this LeBron thing off air, and then when we get into late season, that's probably going to be on our first episode of the Lakers post. We're going to be talking about LeBron's second decision. But all right, guys, I'm out of here from the Wager Zone. This is Hez, and we'll see you guys on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Peace.